In this lecture, we are going to go ahead and begin with an important model, and this is known as the Ricardian model. The Ricardian model basically understands that two countries can have, we're talking about only one factor of production. I'm talking about only labor. But we are saying that the same labor can have different productivity in the two countries. In one country, it can be more productive. In the other country, it can be less productive. Although this labor productivity, this can vary across resources. So maybe in country one, labor is more productive in producing computers. In country two, labor is more productive in producing agricultural products. Okay. So when we say that the productivity of the labor differs, it differs across countries. It also differs across products. But we are only talking about labor for now. And we are saying that the same labor in two countries can have different productivity. So the Ricardian model is based on technological differences. And it says that the same labor can have different productivity in different countries. Now we introduce one term, and this term is known as comparative advantage. What is comparative advantage? Comparative advantage basically works on something which is known as the opportunity cost of production. What is opportunity cost of production? Opportunity cost of production is basically when you produce one product, how much of the other are you giving up? That is known as opportunity cost. Let's take an example. So for example, when I say that I am going ahead and I am producing, let's say, let's give an example of opportunity cost first. So let's say that I am going ahead and I am going from my home to my college in a car, and it is taking me 1 hour. Had I gone from my home to college via bus, it would have taken me 1.2 hours. And had I gone from my home to college in a metro, let's say it would have taken me 1.3 hours, including all those autos and everything I would have taken in between. When I take the car, the cost of the next best alternative, that is the opportunity cost of car. Let's take one more example. Suppose I'm very enthused about starting my own startup. I start the startup, but had I not been in the startup, I would have taken a 9-to-5 job. And I would have earned 60,000 per month. So how much am I giving up by starting the startup? I'm giving up on this 60,000. So this is the cost of my next best opportunity, and hence this is my opportunity cost. So what is comparative advantage doing? Comparative advantage is basically going ahead and saying that we are going to go ahead and check the opportunity cost of producing the good. And wherever you have a lower opportunity cost of producing that good, you're giving up less of the other good. So for example, let's say that country one, when it produces 1 wheat, it has to give up 4 mangoes. And country two, when it produces 1 kg of wheat, it has to give up 6 mangoes. So country 1 has to give up less mangoes when it produces 1 unit of wheat, whereas country 2 has to give up more mangoes when it produces 1 unit of wheat. So we can say that country 1 has comparatively, we're talking about in comparative term, has comparative advantage than country 2. Let's take this from here now. So what is a comparative advantage? You find out the opportunity cost of production. How much are you giving up? In the first case, I gave up 4 mangoes. In the second case, I gave up 6 mangoes. So what is the opportunity cost of that good? How much are you giving up in terms of the other good? Wherever that is lower, that country has a comparative advantage. Let's say this thing. So country A can produce 100 bags with the same resources as 10 computers, which means when country A gives up 10 computers, it is able to produce 100 bags. Country B, when it gives up 10 computers, it is able to produce, when it gives up 4 computers, it is able to produce 100 bags. So country B just has to give up less computers to produce the same amount of bag. So it has a lower opportunity cost and hence has a comparative advantage. So this is what we are going ahead and checking. So let's say here, in which country are the workers more productive? Now, when we say that how many bags have to be foregone to produce 1 computer in country A? So to produce 100 bags, it is equivalent to producing 10 computers. So for every 1 computer, you are giving away how many bags? 10 bags. So either you put your labor and produce 1 computer from it, or you put your labor and produce 10 bags from it. Okay. Look at the country 2 now, country B now. It says either 100 bags or 4 computers, which means if I divide it, 25 bags or 1 computer. So if I have my labor in country B, when I give up 1 computer, I can produce 25 bags. Think the other way around also. Think the other way around also. If I have to produce 1 computer, I will give up 25 bags. Isn't it? Right? If I give up 1 computer, I will produce 25 bags. So let's write this down. Country A, when it gives up 10 bags, then it produces 1 computer. Country B, when it gives up 25 bags, then it produces 1 computer. So B has to give up more bags to produce the same computer. A has to give up less bags to produce the same computer. So because A is giving less bags to produce the same 1 computer, A should be involved in producing computers. Now let's take the other way around. Let's see who will produce bags. When country A gives up 1 computer, it does not produce 1 computer, it can produce 10 bags. When country B, it gives up 1 computer, it doesn't produce computer, it produces 25 bags. So by giving up 1 computer, country B can produce 25 bags. Country A can produce only 10 bags. So it will give up one computer and produce these big 25 bags. So which means that B should produce bags. We'll do it slowly, don't worry. Okay. So let's see. In which country the opportunity cost of producing bags is lower? Country B. Country B will produce bags because country B has to give up one computer and it can produce 25 bags. Country A gives up one computer but only produces 10 bags. So B can produce more bags. So the opportunity cost is lower. Comparative advantage. If each country specializes in production of the good with lower opportunity cost, trade can be beneficial for both. So we are saying that each country, and this is what Ricardian model is all about, we'll do it in detail, but each country should produce the good in which it has comparative advantage. The question is, can a country have comparative advantage in both the products? No. It can have comparative advantage in only one product out of the two, but it can have absolute advantage in both products. We'll talk about this in a while. I'm just beginning with it. My Ricardian model, don't worry if you don't understand now. My Ricardian model is based on comparative advantage. So what is the aim of this chapter? For one, I want to distinguish between comparative and absolute advantage. And two, I want to go ahead and I want to derive or understand the Ricardian model, which is based completely on the comparative advantage. So currently, by looking at it, which country is going to produce computers? A. Which country will produce bags? B.